ready.
All right.
Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Manchester Planning and Zoning Commission meeting for, which would have been September 17th, 2013. However, we've moved it back to Wednesday night, the 25th. First thing I do is review the minutes from June 18th. If there's no additions, deletions, or corrections, I will entertain a motion for approval.
I make motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Michelle, Board of Zoning Appeals?
Yeah, no cases.
You're doing very well. Okay. Town, Steve?
Good evening, Commission members. Just a few things to go over. First of all, one good thing, we established a sustainable community work group, which involved many business leaders within the town. In fact, we have a few here. The Manchester area merchants, council members, Lions Club, fire department. Turned out very well. We put together a very good package to present to the state planning department to make Manchester a sustainable community, which of course opens the doors for grants, not only for the town, but also other members of the community, such as churches, civic organizations, the Nature Foundation, Lions Club, so on and so forth. So that went very well. In fact, the work group wants to continue, which is great, and create like a think tank for the town. And we'll probably meet on a quarterly basis from here on out. Another thing, in August, the council passed ordinance 213, which established a water supply fee of $14,500 for each home to be built. This would be put into our capital budget, and the responsibility of bringing on water to developments into the town would be turned over to the town. So we would do the exploration, testing, quality, quantity, building the pump house, and that would come right back over into our system. So we felt that was a fair way of doing it, and that came out of our water study that was started over a year ago. Also, Ms. Natalie Singer has been brought on as our youth representative to the council. She's doing a very good job. She is our link now between Manchester Valley High School and also the town, and I'm very pleased to bring her online. And my last item, which I've been living and breathing for the last 3 years, is stormwater management and watershed implementation. And to keep the commission up to speed on this, we have to keep our ears and eyes open all the time on this, because this is going to affect the decisions that you make as well as the mayor and the council make. And this is nothing new. You know, as I did a story in the newspaper, you know, I'm not taking sides whether or not the stormwater fee is a good idea or not, but it's here to stay, and we have to maintain these facilities. And you know, we have to look ahead and what are we going to do to control the stormwater runoff and also to protect the watersheds in the area. So that's it. Any questions for me?
Got a couple quick ones. The for the nature center, the
observatory?
thank you.
Yes.
The observatory. Did this body need to do anything as far as any acceptance to the observatory
You
going
do
on?
not. The
Okay.
council gave approval for the Nature Foundation to contact the people and allowed the Nature Center to move ahead with the observatory at that location. Yes.
Okay. That's it.
Okay. I'd like to take a moment to welcome the newest member of our board, Councilwoman Tammy Black. Welcome.
Welcome.
Do you have anything from the council to report?
I think Steve covered it.
Those are the highlights.
Happy to be here.
Great. Welcome aboard. And I don't see Miss Moser anywhere as I look in. So for the first time in how long we didn't have Bobby? Wow. I didn't mean that on purpose.
She's in Hampstead, I believe. Yeah, I think Hampstead's
Okay. She is missed. Okay. Next item up is the Lions Club fence update. A letter was sent from this board to the Lions Club about some questions about the fence. A letter was received back tonight from Mr. Demario, and members, you all have some documentation, not only the minutes from the, let's see, you have both letters. The August 21 minutes are be in your package. There is also, you should have the letter that I received tonight, and so you have a picture. So based on that, I'd like to ask Mr. Demario from the Lions Club to... Oh, very good. Mr. Miller?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Mr. Mario couldn't be here, he had to work tonight. And have the commission members had a...
Excuse me, I'm sorry, can you just pull that mic over a little bit, because this is recorded, and without that, we could fill in the blank.
You probably haven't had too much of an opportunity to read through the document at this point. But our position is that the issue was vehicular traffic, not pedestrian traffic. So what we did, we constructed a split rail fence in accordance with what we understood. There's a 3-foot gap in there. And as our letter states, we've had people actually compliment us for leaving it open, because a lot of the neighbors and everything, they walk through there, either during the day or with their dogs in the morning and evenings. And it's not really intended as a cut-through, but if we close that off, all it's gonna do is force those people who use that property and have used it for years to actually trespass on somebody else's property, because they're gonna either climb the fence, or they're gonna go around and trespass on somebody else's property. So we don't think that we're in violation of the spirit of the ruling of the commission, in that it stopped vehicle traffic. And, from that perspective, that's why we didn't completely close off that gap. Probably the text of our, basically, our response, because even your own minutes indicate that it's vehicular traffic that we were dealing with. So I'm not sure I have a whole lot to add to that. If you have some questions, I'd be trying to entertain them.
I just want to clear up one thing
Sure.
on the minutes, because that's my responsibility. We did go back and listen to the actual tapes, and that was what was done before the letter from Alex was sent out. And that's where it was referenced several times as barriers. Vehicular traffic was one of the things that we talked about, but that they wanted some sort of barrier there to prevent traffic back and forth. Now, whether it's pedestrian or vehicular, I do know that that's why we went ahead and sent the letter out from Mr. Percoon, because of that.
Well, the word barrier, because the entire objection by the fire company at the time when we first came to have our chain link fence approved, the entire objection was vehicles crossing over the fireman's property. We've all crossed over that property for 50 years. So we were here to extend fence onto our own property, because the town doesn't allow chain link fences anymore. And that's fitting for a swimming pool operation. And you approved that. But we had to jump through these extra hoops. We did close off the vehicular traffic that was of the concern to the fire department. So we felt that we were in compliance with what the fire department asked us to do and with what the commission asked us to do. We spent the money to keep vehicles off of somebody else's property. Now you're asking us to close it off to keep people off of somebody else's property. Our view is that it's community property. We all use it. Not much will be used of it as far as community activities, because we're coming into winter. The only thing up there now is pretty much football. And they have permission to use the carnival grounds for parking and use and stuff like that. So I think we complied with the spirit of the ruling, and that's kind of the position that we've taken.
The minutes, as I'm looking at them here, Lions Club was prepared to place a split rail fence extending from the new fence to the end of the property to prevent travel on MVFD property. So that characterization within the minutes is incorrect in your opinion?
I think we complied with the spirit of the rule. And when we talk about, let's see, the chain link fence to the existing fence, okay, is that approved fence? What part of the minutes were you reading?
It's the August 21st, under fence approval,
Yeah.
Limeboro Manchester's Lion Club. It states, Mr. Miller also stated that the fire department had expressed concerns for vehicles driving over their property, and that the Lions Club was prepared to place a split rail fence extending from the new fence to the end of the property to prevent travel on MVFD property.
I understand the technical distinction there, but the point is that we stop vehicle traffic.
Okay.
When you read it back, Michelle, did it, I remember the lengthy discussion over whether or not we wanted it chain, or did we actually discuss split rail?
We discussed split rail as an option. We discussed many types of options, that it wasn't fully defined. There was a request for chain link, and chain link was not permitted within the town unless we approved it at that point in time. And since it was not actually enclosing a swimming pool area, therefore was not for health and safety reasons,
Right, I remember that.
chain link was denied as an option.
Okay. So we went to
there-
split rail or privacy, I mean, not privacy,
It-
regular picket.
Could have been picket, it could have been decorative iron. I mean, there was a variety of options that were thrown on the table. They were to choose their final material with the zoning certificate. And yes, there was an awful lot of discussion about vehicles. There was a little bit of discussion about pedestrians. The main concern at that time was expressed with vehicles because that was the issue of the day. Are there representatives from the fire department by chance in attendance tonight who could speak on behalf of the fire department?
I just have this one letter, and I want to show this to Mr. Miller.
Okay, you got it. State your name.
If you'll look at where I made the mark there, I think you wrote that letter for us to look over and to sign. If you'd like to read that.
I'm sorry, can you please state your name for the record? We are taped.
Richard Dallin, President.
Thank you.
This was mailed out to you.
Yes, it was. And
It's not-
you
it's
wrote
not a
this,
letter.
but you wrote this letter for us to look over and sign and give back.
Oh, and you sent back to us?
Right.
On a letter, okay.
And
Let
I
me read the
think you'll
paragraph
have
so
a
everybody
copy of
can
that.
understand it.
Sure,
Do
go
they
ahead.
have a copy of this?
I believe we do.
Oh, okay.
August
So
23rd
he's
letter?
pointing to, based on that meeting, you indicated that the Lions Club would install a barrier similar to like a split rail fence from the end of the new fence to near the end of the property line to eliminate the area being used as a thoroughfare by vehicles of community members. This satisfies our concern regarding the fence expansion. You agree to restore it to its original condition, any adjacent disturbed areas of fire department grounds. Okay, I understand. And again, it talks about vehicles.
But also that extends from the chain link fence to the end of the property.
Okay.
Okay, so
So could we ask,
I have a question for you.
Okay.
And you may not be prepared to answer this question tonight, but I'll go ahead and answer it anyway. Does the fire department have objections to the 3-foot opening gap between the existing chain link and the now constructed split rail, which allows for pedestrian, not vehicular access? If you're not prepared, you need to speak with the rest of the organization. I understand that. I'm trying to resolve this as quickly as possible, because it is really a dispute between property owners.
That's correct. I'm not gonna get into a lengthy discussion here about the problems. In our interest, it is a problem.
It is a problem. Okay.
And I'm not gonna make any discussions about it, but we have hot-headed members that want it closed. And after looking where the line runs, don't close it, we will. So that's where it stands.
So in the first time the two organizations met, we gave some time to work out a solution. Could we ask that the same again, that both the organizations come together, work out a solution that's amicable, and then we move on from there?
I think they want it closed.
Okay, well, I understand
I'd
that.
like to go back to our board of directors and see what they say.
Okay.
But our position is that we complied with the spirit of the Planning and Zoning Commission, and we complied with the spirit of the understanding of the fire company. I can't help it that the fire company decides that it's not community property, that neighbors and friends can go back and forth. I can't decide that. That's their issue. And it's interesting how we can't seem to get to the next generation where these little issues come up, when in fact, it's community property. I look at that entire area up there as community property. I don't own it, the fire company owns it, but that's community property. They accept tax money, we don't accept tax money, we're a nonprofit.
Okay.
What, I think,
I need to voice my concern here, because I thought I was gonna be of a generation that could overcome whatever issues have been between the Lions Club and the fire department in the past. It looks like it's gonna need to be another generation, because this is ridiculous.
It's not real ridiculous when you got people who want to throw stones at us. That's all I gotta say.
Okay.
so, again.
Well,
I'm
my-
gonna- Go ahead, I'm
I
sorry.
do have a comment. I mean, where does the Lions Club feel that they have the right to, you keep saying spirit of the letter. It's written everywhere that it's gonna extend from the fence 80 feet to the other property. Where does the Lions Club think they have the right to put in a 3-foot gap without asking anybody? I mean,
We own the property.
yeah, but we, in the approval, we told you that you had to build a fence.
And we did. To stop
From
vehicle traffic.
the edge, no. You're not reading it. He's read it to you, we've read it to you, and you've read it yourself out loud on tape. That it says, from the end of the fence, 80 feet out to the other property. That picture does not touch the end of the fence. So you took it on your own regard to disregard this board and the ruling.
We didn't intend to disregard the board.
Well, there's a picture of it, there's a 3-foot gap.
We thought we complied with the spirit of the board.
Well, there's spirit, and then there's what's written.
So we can wrap this up, I would again request both organizations get together, resolve this minor issue, and so we can put this to rest without any further action. We'll ask you to come back at our next meeting to make a report, and then we'll make our decision from there. Thank you.
I make a motion to continue this agenda item till next meeting.
Okay, motion on the floor to continue this agenda item till next meeting.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Okay. All right, item 5, T13-007P Concept Review Manchester Farms, Section 7. In your packets, Board, there were some concerns raised by the planning and zoning, the town staff. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Just give us your names.
My name is Jeff Mathai with Morris and Ritchie Associates.
Okay.
Jeff, you can put that lower right between you guys. You can sit if you want, stand if you want, I don't care.
Robert Holwick with Bob Ward Company is the developer.
Good evening. Michelle, the gentleman have a copy of this?
No, they don't. But you do have the rest of the comments too from the county. I sent them all in your packet, so I didn't recopy them again for you. When you got the packet with the map, with the, yeah.
Okay. So we have, sorry. Lost my agenda, forgot my place in the world. So it's the concept review. I'll open the floor to any of the board members with questions for the gentleman representing the,
I would request that they present the plan first, and then we'll ask our questions. They
Very
may
good.
answer some of them in their presentation.
okay, very good. Gentlemen, floor is yours.
As I said, my name's Jeff Mathai with Morrison Ritchie Associates, Robert Holwick. We're here to present the concept plan for Manchester Farm Section 7. It's 16 single-family lots located in the community residential zone, so R15,000. The size of the lot is 7.1 acres. There are no FEMA floodplains, no known rare, threatened, or endangered species, no historic structures. And we also have submitted a forest standardization plan to the county and have received approval. We're proposing one public road with a cul-de-sac and a public water and sewer. We propose to extend the public sewer along the property frontage on Susan Ann Drive, and the public water would loop through the existing park and to southwestern Avenue. We started the major residential subdivision process. We've been through the pre-submittal conference with the county and the town, and we've had gone to the TRC meeting at the county. I believe the town representatives were in attendance. We received comments from the county, and after this, we still have to come, after the concept plan, we have to prepare a preliminary plan and gain approval from the planning commission, and also come back and get our plats approved at the same time along with the final plan. So this is just the concept plan, the first step. Also for stormwater, we're proposing, actually at Carroll County's request, they would like us to use the existing section 4 pond, to retrofit it, provide a sand filter in the bottom of the pond. Pipe the water down Susan Ann Drive to that pond. And that was at Carroll County's request. And as far as the particulars of the design, we did show water and sewer and the lot sizes, but that, looking at the memo here, a lot of this is more final design issues or preliminary plan issues that really we wouldn't put on the concept plan. I mean, we can provide the information if you like, but I think at this point it would be something that would be on the preliminary plan and final. Presentation, thank you.
Okay.
Okay. I've got several different questions for you. Starting with the actual application, you indicate that there will be 10 lots. There's 16 shown. I'm a little confused. The application indicates that you're proposing 10 lots with 16 single families.
Yeah, I'm noticing it's saying, and then it says number of
So that's
units
typo, I
16.
think. I thought it was, but I'm like, okay, I'm just making sure that there wasn't existing lots out here that we were saying pre-existed, so we're changing them down. Okay,
That's 16.
16.
Apologize.
Okay, no, I mean, we want the best plan to move forward for the community, so we're just making sure that you guys don't get caught at the end with an allocation for 10 units, when in fact you need 16, and then you've got 6 lots sitting there.
We can send a new application.
Okay. Okay, that's my first question. My second question, what is the proposed right-of-way width and what is the proposed pavement width? It wasn't labeled on the plans. And again, I understand this is early concept, making sure we allocate everything we need to.
I mean, we would meet the city's requirements. I believe it's a 50-foot right of way.
I believe it is a 50-foot right-of-way with 24 feet minimum of pavement.
Right.
I don't get that on this print, but prints have stretch and shrinkage, so I just want to make sure that we have the right amount of land area for everyone's uses. And then the 24 would also address the concern that I would have with possible fire access being a minimum 20-foot free and clear. As in keeping with the rest of Manchester Farms, will this cul-de-sac have sidewalks and/or street lighting on it?
Yes, we have street lighting and whatever your ordinance is it one side or both sides of the street?
I believe it would only be on one side required, but I would need to defer that to staff. I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Definitely the street light at the end, and then whatever the ordinance, definitely sidewalk one side,
Okay.
if that's your ordinance.
For this size lot, I believe it is. Okay. When I look at the clearing that's going to be required for this grading, obviously we're taking a significant amount of forest out. I know you just recently indicated you've gotten approval for your forest.
Just the forest stand, we haven't prepared the forest conservation plan we're building with the,
Will you be looking to do plantings somewhere else within Manchester Farms, or you're not at that point yet?
we're really not at the,
Okay.
we have to run
That-
through the forest
that's fine.
conservation. I don't know how the numbers are gonna shoot.
Okay. Again, keeping on the theme of forest here for a second, some of the tree lines that end up being shown as being retained are very narrow when you look at where the tree line is on the adjacent property. So we just need to make sure that we get an accurate reflection of that. There may be some decent trees in there we want to try and save. Also make sure that when you have got the water line cutting through to Southwestern, that we show a clearing in those trees as well. And as that is town property, I would request that we kind of review the trees that are along there, and that may kind of guide us. We may want to move the water line a little bit to miss some of them. So just
Absolutely, yeah, that location could be.
Yeah. We figured it was, but we just wanted to, again, make sure that we don't get the plan back and then go, oh yeah, did you think about this? And you go, you didn't tell me. So, give you as much as possible, as early as possible. Correct me if I'm wrong, the houses on Charmel are on septic,
That is correct.
public water, septic though.
That is correct, yes.
Okay. Do we know the location of their septic fields?
Yes, they're in the rear,
They're in the rear.
except for one house that I know in particular, which it had a failing septic and it was moved to the front.
Okay. It'd be nice to make sure that we're not going to have an adverse effect on any of their fields. Kind of note them.
What we've done is we have requested in our memo that a gravity line be fed to the rear of the existing homes on Shar Mill with clean-out supplied, which
Okay.
will feed all the way down to Susan Ann Drive. Now, that being said, there is a history of failing septics in the Shar Mill Drive area. That being said, linking it into the watershed implementation plan, that if we can get as many people off of septic as possible, better off all the way around. Now, that being said, we do not want to push these people into hooking up to town sewer unless their septic system fails.
Actually fails.
And we have done this in Manchester Farms Section 4 to the rear of some of the homes on the south side of Charlotte Drive, which a gravity line was put in where the force main dumps into, and taps and a gravity line was installed for the future. And that's what we were looking at, that's what we were requesting.
Support that. I would also request that as you're looking at your forest and your tree plantings, you pay attention to your proposed lots 369 through 372 to provide some kind of screening to the existing homes, as there won't be no screening at that point in time.
Would you like to, I could send, I don't know if you have the forest conservation, or the forest stand delineation, I can send that. I believe.
When we get to the next stage, we'll review it. I'm trying to put all my issues on the table so you can know as much as possible moving forward. So again, I assume there's wells on the 3 lots to the south. Again, let's make sure that we're not going to impact their existing ability to maintain their current conditions.
There is well,
The Garland lot?
Yes.
Okay, that one, okay. I have a question regarding Jammer Drive. I've seen documentation that would indicate that it is a right-of-way. I've seen documentation that would indicate that it's an easement. I'm looking to all parties for an answer here.
We've done a title report, a title search, and it looks like it's actually just a use in common drive. And we can also share the title report, but it looks like it's just the properties to the south have a right to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the property in question has a right to use it, but I believe it's just a use in common drive. We haven't seen, there was no evidence of a right of way or anything
Okay.
that we could find.
There was a letter from the county that indicated that it was a right-of-way, which is what brought me to that point. I know previously I'd been told that it was an easement, it was an agreement, so, okay.
We have researched that. And
Okay.
it looks like it's not a right of way.
And the property outline shown here is from results of plats or an actual boundary survey?
It's just not a boundary survey.
Okay, that's fine. Because there's a couple structures related to Garland that appear to be across the line.
For the preliminary plan, we would have a.
You'll tie it down. Okay, great. My next question regards Lot 357. The retaining wall is immediately adjacent to the south lot there. Retaining wall is immediately adjacent to the structure with the 2-to-1 slope up top of it. Doesn't seem to be a very desirable condition. That 2-to-1 slope also appears to be tying out to a highly erodible soil. And the 2-to-1 slope in the area of lots 360 and 361 seems to extend up for about 26, maybe 28 feet, which I believe exceeds the maximum allowable for a 2-to-1 slope. So again, as we're moving forward, I want to make sure we provide all impacts that may or may not be there, that we get everything that we can out of this property and there's no surprises down the line.
And one thing, I agree with you, one thing I want to do is, that's why there's a swale at the top of this slope. So, I mean, it's imperative to keep runoff off that slope. So, I think that's the number one priority. And then we would need to put a bench in that slope.
Yep, somewhere in there. I really kind of question the viability of Lot 357. I think it needs to be looked at a little tighter and see how, if it really is a viable lot, that we're not going to be coming back and hearing, well, we need a waiver or variance for this side setback, or we have to move the retaining wall closer and it's a structure at that point in time, so now we need a variance for the structure. So let's just make sure that that's a good lot before we continue on down the line with it.
And the access to it is running over top the water pipe down that 20-foot easement. Then there's going to make a left, I guess, and come around the barrier wall. No, 357, how do you get to it?
That private access that Jan.
Oh, you're going to come in Jammer and not
He's going to come in Jammer.
you're not going between 358 and 359?
No, I think it's just a storm outfall.
That's a storm drain.
Okay.
Okay.
Again, while we're verifying lots, let's verify 365. I mean, you know the product that you normally cite, and make sure again that 365 can be cited without a need for variances on the setbacks.
That one's tight.
While you're commenting,
Mhm.
one of the requests we have for 365, your 20-foot water line is going through the easement. It's gonna be underneath the house's driveway, this is on there. Let's see if we can relocate it to the base of 364 and go out that way. Because we don't want it underneath,
Under the driveway.
yeah. driveway.
That's just a schematic location.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That ties back to the, tying it back over to Susan again and needing to refine that location. Sorry, I don't have my marks down here.
Stormwater. Going back to
Yeah,
the
that's where I
pond.
was going. What is your current pre-concept for stormwater and addressing ESD to the MEP?
It would be well, the swale that's at the top of the slope, that would be an ESD swale.
So it'll have check dams in it then?
Well, we'd have to look at that. I mean, hopefully we can flatten it out enough that it wouldn't need them,
Okay.
because I know it is on the lot, so the less structures are in
And then for the
Really,
lots,
The biggest is a sand filter in the bottom of the pond at, this is section, the lot, section 4 pond, the retrofit that.
yeah, but that's 1,500 feet or so away. It's not at the point of impact.
Right. This was at the request of the Carroll County reviewer. We can certainly talk about that, and if you want to see more ESD on site, then we can certainly provide that. They were really concerned. They wanted the sand filter and retrofit that pond to provide water quality for the whole watershed.
Okay.
And I know they thought that would be more beneficial than, providing more ESD on site. So, again, we have to go through 3 reviews, the
Right.
concept, the preliminary, and the final, so that was the concept.
Right.
So we can certainly look at that
Right.
and do,
Does that pond have structural ability to be upsized for this additional drainage? I mean, was the core trench set to a point where it will support that? Or are we going to be talking about a major reconstruction here?
I don't think so. I mean, upstream, the town controls that, that's open space. And we can, if we have to make it bigger, we can go into, it's not part of the.
Couldn't they put a
embankment.
retainage
Go
pond
into
there?
The upslope, which is just cutting more volume out into the area that's not part of, that wouldn't be included in the embankment. So just basically a matter of moving.
Okay. And obviously, you're going to review the barrels and make sure there's no downstream potential for problems with the higher release rates.
And that's one of the advantages of going to that pond, because we're not downstream property owners immediately downstream of this. Most of the water would be taken away through, that wouldn't be an issue, downstream flooding.
We will look for some kind of recharge or some kind of on-lot for the high lots. Since they are disjointed from that swale, they will not get any benefit from it.
We were thinking of some kind of, the roof leader, dry well.
Trails. Okay. With obviously with disconnects. Okay. Those are most of my major questions and comments moving towards the future. So.
Very well done.
Is this all new, is that all new stormwater line going all the way through to the pipe, or some of that existing? Like,
That would, all the way even down Susan Ann.
uh-huh,
Yeah, it's all new.
it'd all have to be put in?
Yeah, between the curb and the right, there's about only 15 feet there.
Okay. So this is all new line.
Driveway replacement patches. Yeah.
We asked for
And the large parcel shown just to the left of the existing pond is town property, or is that private property?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
As far as like capacity and everything, the existing sewer and all, the lines that are in there now seem okay? I see that.
Correct, yes, that would handle the flow.
It would handle enough flow from,
The same way with the pump station. The pump station upgraded enough to handle the additional flow, correct?
Okay.
Did State Highway weigh in on access at Charmel and 30? Okay. Okay.
Not being a state road. If I have it, they approved it, so. Because they're being accessed from Susan Ann Drive, which is a town roadway, they have no objections. So they're not even going beyond that.
I know from time to time, there's quite a few cars trying to get out that way. So, okay.
Quite a few. Michelle, I got a question going back to the controversy we've had over the last year or two as far as garages in the backyard, buildings in the back, setbacks and that type of thing. And I know we've done a lot of modifying and changing that type of thing. With these setbacks on these buildings, it doesn't look like, is there any property you see where a driveway could go to the rear? As far as like somebody wanting a garage or a shed or, most of these, the proposed houses, are they with a garage or without a garage or
They have the 2-car garages, yes,
each house, okay, attached two-car garage?
correct.
All right, so that,
But I think,
People want more.
sure, sure.
but I think these are just basic boxes showing that
This is what they
how
can build
much,
in.
yeah, it's not the real ones.
There's a building envelope shown, and then the
Right.
box shown, that's a pretty big.
That's 15,000 square feet in the box, correct?
No, that's the lot size.
Yeah, the
Oh,
total
that's
lot is
total lot size?
That's total lot
So
size.
that's not in the box?
No.
Okay.
Now, for example, I mean, just to
But-
give you an idea, about 55 foot by, it's about a 55 by 55 squares. I mean, that's a pretty substantial
Sure.
footprint. So.
Okay. So with, we've, where the calculations for the, the pools and the outbuildings and that type of thing we're currently being based off the square footage of that dwelling. So these rear yards, and we recently have changed the wording, as far as the calculations go. So any additional gazebos or swimming pools or outside sheds, a gardening shed, anything that's any sort of fixed, forgive me if I'm wrong, did we go 50%? Where'd we end up, Michelle? For the other structures?
It vary by zone.
I just foresee it where we're fit.
50%, and more than 50%.
Yeah, because we're putting 16 houses in 7 acres. So these are 16 houses. I didn't mean to cut it away. I didn't mean to cut that property away. It was a mistake. But say 16 houses in 7 acres, the concern is ringing back in my head, the pools and gazebos and decks, and we went ahead and clarified attached and detached decks, I believe.
Yes, sir.
But are we counting the actual deck as part of the outside structure or the existing structure?
Yeah, the decks, because of their permitting process, they have to still be allowed to be on the back of the house and still allow a 45-foot rear yard, which, you can see from 363 and 362, 361, that's not gonna be an issue because their lots go back so far. But where you're actually 360 and 359, 358, they're built right within that little envelope of the setbacks.
Right.
So, yeah, they would all need variances just to put that.
Depending on the final sited house.
Right. Now, sheds,
Yeah, so
things
when-
like that, now, if you change that, then they're gonna be put off, they're not gonna mind. They're really not
So I thought I'd bring that concern up when you're figuring out your type of home, you know, your home design in there. Maybe there'll be, on some of these, you might have to, a little bit of modifying, kind of some pre-planning, because we've had considerable meetings over little sheds and gazebos and things that were built that should never got permitted, and so I just see it as a concern.
Jamie, do you have anything you want to, any questions? I'd like to open up the floor to public comment. No?
No.
Is there any public comment? Yes, sir, come right on up. Oh, thank you.
We do have a second.
You want to move that?
Thank you. Sir? Robert Holweck?
That's the developer's
Oh,
name.
okay. Signed in. Yeah, no, I do. Isn't that terrible? Mr. Sisler?
If you hold it up, I might be able to read it from here.
We're up here, aren't we? That's Wayne Miller, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
looks like Miller.
So we got him, Mr. Sisler.
Okay, some of these fellows have heard me before. I live at, I'm Wendell Sisler by the name, and I live at the corner of Charmel and Southwest. It's the larger of the lots there on Charmel, the end lot. Okay, my biggest concern is, well, it's a lot of things that concern me. Water is one of them, but traffic is crazy in that area. It is crazy. I live there right on the corner where, when I moved there, it was all country behind me, and now it's all houses behind me. I would like, in fact, Steve gave me a rundown on how many cars pass by there. Every car in that, all those developments in the back have to pass by my house. So my house became what used to be a nice country road, to where now it's just constant traffic, at least in the morning and in the evening. Daytime, we put up with all the trucks, the construction. They got one truck, guys, that's been carrying the, I guess, all the dirt that they're digging out for foundations. At least 30 to 50 times a day, it's going down, filling in that part of the land that you're talking about developing, dumping it, and then coming back, which it's aggravating, and it's even dangerous because there's things running even when the kids are getting on and off the bus. And I'm not saying that they're speeding, but every time they pass by, a cloud of dust goes by with it. I know I have a hard time keeping my house clean from all the dust that it creates. Plus, it's noisy. And when I look at what they're doing down there, I can't foresee how anybody would want to put a house on top of newly dumped dirt, because maybe in 10 years that house might become two houses because it's going to sink, split or something. And that doesn't make a whole lot of sense for those two houses, which I don't know what the numbers are right now, but the ones down on the slope. And then I'm even thinking this, when they're filling that in, it's common sense. If you got a slant this far and you start filling in here, this wall here is going to have to get higher. There's got to be something to retain that fill. And so you can't make that go away. Somewhere down here is going to have to be a wall. And all this is going to be up against that wall. To me, that sounds really silly. I mean, to even think of that. And then I also feel like the drainage that you're talking about, taking it down to that, I guess it's what they call a pond or whatever down there, to have to dig up Suzanne Drive again and run pipe down through there, all the inconvenience that's gonna cause. Plus, are they gonna repave and put a whole new road in there after they finish with it? We just had a new road on Charmel Drive. I don't know how long it's gonna last with all the construction trucks that are going up and down. I mean, you'd have to live there to understand what we're talking about. The other thing, I hate to see the woods go, because it's the only bit of woods left that we have wildlife in there. I know there's deer there, they come in my backyard all the time. I know there's all kinds of animals, fox, you name it, they all come out of that woods. We have a beautiful sports field that the town has now, they developed, it gets used heavy. It has 2 swales going down on each side of it. Is it gonna interfere with any of that? I just hate to see that go, because it's a sort of a thing that's been there for a long time, people are happy with it, it's a good background to the field. To see all that woods go, it just breaks my heart a little bit, it really does. But anyhow, traffic is one of the biggest issues that I have. And I think we need to do something about the traffic. There's only one way out of those developments, and that's right past my house. It's a shame they can't find a way to get over to Cape Horn Road somewhere to divide some of the traffic. Or even develop a road somewhere, I don't know, have an aerial plan, but somewhere how you can get some of that traffic off of Charmel Drive. And getting out of 130, I heard you make a comment, it's a joke. It is. We don't even try it. When you can't go into Manchester at night, there's no way. You can't make a left turn. In the morning, getting out, if you're going in toward Baltimore, you have tons of traffic from Pennsylvania. And now this traffic, you might be backed up 3 or 4 blocks up Charmel Drive, waiting to just get to 30. And people are very impatient, and I do know they have a speed gadget there on Charmel Drive that tells you how fast you're going. Well, we set down 20 mile an hour a while back because of it being a residential area. Well, now you have trucks, construction trucks, all kinds of stuff going up and down, and some of those are the worst people doing the speeding there. So everything is starting to get to the point where people are really getting disgusted with a lot of issues there. Some of them that would have been here tonight, I know personally couldn't because of other obligations, but they're really, really upset about it. So that's all I have.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
sir. Maria McMahon.
Hi, I'm Maria Ann, and I live on 2313 Susan Ann Drive. I am not within the town limits. We are the collateral damage from all this development, and unfortunately, we're suffering from a lot of the things that Mr. Sisler was just talking about. And Cape Horn is one of the outlets. They come up Cape Horn, and we're having problems from about 5 in the morning until maybe 9, 10 o'clock, it kind of settles down. And then rush hour, 2:30, 3 o'clock, it starts again. We have a lot of problems with staff, school buses, students, et cetera, going to Manchester Valley. It's a great shortcut. We're coming from Hampstead. Let's zip over there and they're flying. And what I'm here is, I know I'm not within the town limits, but we need we're the collateral damage. They police the town of Charmel. They're enforcing it. They have people there. The county sheriff is there. I've asked the county sheriff, I've offered my property for him to sit there and give us some equal types of enforcement on the older section. Susan Ann is much narrower than the newer section. Every house down there, all the residents, that's all we ever talk about, and I kind of am representing them. I don't think there's a mailbox that hasn't been demolished at least once, maybe several times. Several neighbors have had cars in their driveways hit. We've had, when it's used as a shortcut in icy weather, it was Snyder's truck up in the lawn. I mean, it's really become a shortcut because, in their infinite wisdom of only putting the bypass around Hampstead, it all chokes right there at Cape Horn and Shar Mill, and everybody's aware of that. But what we're looking for is some relief. Yeah, they did pave Shar Mill. It's within the town limits and everything. Our road is literally crumbling from all the traffic that's been a result of this. And looking at these 16 houses, I counted the cars in the driveway, and there's on average at least 3 cars in every driveway on the new development. And, you know, you multiply that by 16 homes, that's a lot of extra traffic coming up and down the road. And we're getting I'm worried that one day one of the children, it was an older neighborhood, most of the people were up there my age or older. It's now turning over, the houses are being occupied by people with children in the school bus. School buses are also, they can't pass one another in that section without moving over. And because we're kind of the illegitimate child in between Hampstead and Manchester, we're not really given a lot of support in the damage that we're receiving on our road, and also the way, the traffic enforcement. I don't know, I've asked the county a couple years ago about, is there any way we become the next Whispering Valley, that's all I can say. That's what it's turning into. And I'm looking for some relief to the traffic enforcement and to the way the traffic is going from the town of Manchester through there, because it's really dangerous down at Cape Horn. I don't know if anybody's had any history. I've been here since '68. A lot of fatalities right there at that corner, and this is just making it worse. So, I mean, I know I'm not part of the town, but I've been seriously impacted by it. My kids played in the street. My grandkids are not even allowed in the front yard. So, I mean, that's how sad it is. And I don't know what you guys can do about it, but I've gone to the county too, and we kind of turned deaf ears. We're just that little short piece of road. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gary Chamberlain Sr.
I don't think I need the microphone. I want to come over here and look at this house right here. First off, I want to know how Jamer Drive got onto their property. I've been there since '88. I've used that. You guys don't see me because the county likes to say that I'm on James Street in Westminster. I'm on Jamer Drive, right back through here. As Jamer Drive comes down and turns right here, and you have this all marked wrong, this is Joe Struck's house. Hudson lives in that house, and of course, if you look there, I have the 2 acres that's right here. That's where I am. I'm gonna be impacted by that house. I don't like it there, and you saying you're gonna give them access off of my road? I wanna know how many houses can be on a use in common driveway then, because if I had to put this gate down here, I had the whole town of Manchester coming down Jamer Drive, which is just a crush and run, and I maintain that road. These people that live on there that's supposed to help maintain, you might as well kiss your rear end goodbye. So I maintain that road. So you're gonna have Garland, Hudson, Struck, me, and Cook using that use in common. It is a use in common, that's what my deed says, use in common. And it's a crush and run road. Now, as this gentleman said, this land goes like this. So they're gonna build it up. And you talk about swales and all that. What's gonna happen to all that water? All of this being sloped, I don't know how many tons of stone I put on that road every year. Because of the runoff, Bob Ward was nice enough, I guess, to blacktop about 20 feet coming down the lane. That added to the water going down the lane and washing it out. I tell you, you're more than welcome. Some of these Bob Ward people, they get lost. They're going for Jamer Lane. They come up to my house because they're going down to the farm. There's nowhere to go. Because I have a nice 3-car garage that they can't get around, and jump through my property. Okay, so I don't like that. I don't like the access coming off of my lane. I don't like any runoff that's gonna come down there. I'm like the other gentleman, all this wood's being removed. John has a aerial photo. You see that I live in the woods, so you're not gonna take my woods, that's for sure. But all the deer and everything else that comes running through here, I don't know. But my concern, again, is the Jamer Drive, okay, and that house and the water runoff. And if this guy has access to Jamer Drive, are you gonna blacktop all the way back to my house? So that I have access out there without having to put down tons and tons of gravel on that road? I don't know, that is my concern. I saw that house sitting there and I thought, holy crap, okay? And then, as I say, I'm concerned about my road. I come right down through here. This is how you have it marked. But how in the world did my lane get on their property? Is it somebody fudging the little magic markers that they have? Okay, it shouldn't be on anybody's property. I'm like you. When I first bought the property, I was told it was a right-of-way. Then my deed comes in and says it's use in common. I'm looking to you guys to go ahead and X that thing out of here. How far back off is it gonna be on this Jamer Drive? Again, it's only a little crush and run road, okay? It probably actually started out as a tractor road, okay? So how far is he gonna be off the road? I'm like you, decks, little sheds and everything coming there. If I have to come down, then this lane comes down just like this, okay? In the wintertime, you don't have four-wheel drive, you ain't getting out. Matter of fact, my tractor's a four-wheel drive tractor. When I plow that rascal, you better have four-wheel drive. And again, it's just a little stone road. It's gonna be really impacted on what's going on. Understand these little bushes and everything here, they're gonna stay. Right when the lane comes down here, that should be extended. There's a little place there that doesn't get mowed or anything right now. I think that should stay as well. That's my comments, okay? I look for you guys to help me out, stop that house, protect my lane, okay, and watch that runoff. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Steve, can I ask, who currently maintains the part of the paved Suzanne Drive that goes into the Jamer Drive?
We do not touch Jamer Drive at all.
I do the whole thing.
You mentioned that some part was recently paved by
Well,
Bob
yeah,
Ward.
when they
Who
did the,
maintains that?
I do. When they went ahead, they only did 20 feet.
Oh, okay.
So it's only 20 feet. So
Okay.
it's not as though they were trying to do the whole road, okay? I think they did it because when they went and put Susan Ann, which I didn't beat, but Susan Ann was actually that end of it was part of my lane as well. They didn't come to me and say, can I take your lane, okay? But I figured, hey, you're gonna go ahead and blacktop it, you're gonna plow it, okay? So they took about, whatever it is from Jamer Drive into Charmel, I guess is quarter of a mile, half a mile, okay? They blacktopped it, okay? I didn't complain because if you look on the original plan, Jamer Drive was supposed to stay intact. Susan Ann was supposed to come in alongside of Jamer, coming off of Charmel, okay? But somehow or the other, they stole that as well. And I think that's what they're trying to do now, is take the rest of my Jamer Drive, okay? And if he's gonna give him access, and that's what I wanted to stop anyway, is anybody from having access to that Jamer Drive, because they're gonna come in there and do whatever they need to do to the back of that property. Okay, the properties I'm talking about is the 362, 361, 360, even 359. I realize it's up the hill slightly, but you know how people are, they're gonna see that nice little road. And as I say, the people that were coming off of Susan Ann to go over to Southwestern, they were using Jamer Drive until I put that farm fence up, that farm gate. Okay, so I know that's what's gonna happen. Okay, but that gate's gonna stay. Okay, because it says use in common. I talked to Struck, I talked to Cutzel, and to Garland before I did it. I said, I'm gonna close it off, because I'm tired of people coming in. I'm not gonna maintain that. Now, those people went ahead and went together and they blacktopped their part, okay? So, but me, I left mine, because my issue, if you go ahead and talk to the town police, the county police, and the state police, my concern is with Cook. Him and his living girlfriend are playing nuts, okay? And I'm not gonna do anything to upgrade their property, okay? So, but anyway, my main concern is what's gonna be left of Gamer Drive.
Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you.
In regards to what this gentleman's talking about, when I moved here, I'm gonna use your map, guys, if you don't mind. Chambers Drive, the one he's talking about that comes down is very steep. It goes down, he put a gate, and then it goes on through and up past Garland's house. It comes out on southwest, not Charmel. Charmel's up here. So it comes out on southwest, and actually directly across from that, it continues, and it goes on up a hill, and it passes a couple residences on top of the hill, and it ends up in Park Avenue.
That is correct. That is correct,
Okay.
yes. Beside the Hayfley property of Mr.
You're kidding me.
No.
Where the
Yeah,
mittens live.
Hilltop.
Mr.
Yeah.
It goes up-
Mittens,
Wow.
The original driveway to the Garland house.
That is
That
correct.
was the original.
Yeah, am I correct?
There's a roadway that.
Am I correct in assuming,
not
and I
realize
may
that.
be wrong about this, that Jamer Drive actually went from Park Avenue all the way through to Charmel Drive?
Well, yes,
Okay,
original.
okay, that's what I
Okay,
thought.
before yeah, that's what I was referencing to.
Correct.
Before Susan Ann came,
It-
that
it
looped
turned.
around
Yes,
all the way
right.
out to
And
Charmel.
came out on Charmel directly across from Valley View.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know.
As a matter of fact, I
a
believe
little
you,
gravel road.
the town,
Yeah,
and
it's a brick alley.
I've lived there for 47
Garland.
years and I didn't know that.
were at odds on which end of their
They cut off
property
the
they were
entrance.
to use, whether it was
The
Jamer
entrance.
on that end or out the
Out on this
towards
end.
Schoolhouse Road.
The
Okay?
mitten, if this keeps
When
coming
you say
out
Park
towards
Avenue, I'm
Park
gonna count that
Avenue.
as towards Schoolhouse.
Right, okay. Yeah, I mean, it was one of those deals where, you know, before the Garlands moved in, the elderly gentleman that lived in that house, I believe, he accessed it off of Park Avenue.
Yes, sir.
I think he went all the way back, yeah.
Yes, sir.
And then, you know, it was either or.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's a good
As,
history.
as,
Wow.
I won't
As
tell
the
anybody what we
applicant-
did at Schoonover's farm, but that's okay.
as the applicant had indicated earlier, to one of our questions, they have not actually gone out and surveyed, the property, located monuments that were left by various parties. So there is a little bit of question about where some of the features tie together, and they will be resolving that as they move forward. It's course of normal development. You know, you kind of start out with a loose picture and you refine it as we go down. But I'm glad everyone has kind of spoken their concerns so far tonight, because we do need to give them the most true and accurate picture of what's going on around them and how they can best fit in.
But one thing when you say they haven't surveyed, I noticed that you guys have put these orange sprays down part of where Charmel turns, back at probably about 10, 15 feet.
It's just a control
What's that for?
for survey.
So that's not any indication that you're gonna come down that far to do, I mean, you're more than welcome to Blacktop the Lane.
We looked at at the title on this road, and basically, your property, the property south of our property and our property have the right to use that Gamer Canal. It's for the common driveway from your property and for this property. So you cannot be denied use and not use your driveway, but it's a shared driveway. But it's supposed to include this property also. That's the way you do it. As far as maintenance, I don't.
Well,
I
it
don't
would
know.
read as far as what's left of
Jamer Drive is here. It used to come all the way here, so then your access is right where you're putting this road here. You don't need any access here. Your access is right here. This is the original Jamer Drive. Okay? So if you're looking at access, there's your access, not what's left of my property. See, don't look at what's happened since 90. Look at the plats and everything back at 1914. It shows Jamer Drive continuing. As I say, I didn't beef, and I guess I should have, to not take that Jamer Drive off of Shar Mill, because you're looking at this distance. Again, this was the original Jamer Drive, and this Susan Ann was supposed to come parallel, and they just came in and bulldozed it one day, and I dropped off that damn thing like this with my vehicle on a muddy day. They just came in with their bulldozers and just wiped it right out. That's to start the first section of Manchester Farm.
Okay, any other comments to be made?
Like I say, I am 2626 Jamer Drive, Manchester, Maryland, not Westminster. I've been to the county, they keep saying, oh, I'll take care of it. My taxes seem to come to my right address, okay? But they say it's James Drive in Westminster.
Okay.
So that's why when you guys look me up, I don't exist. Well, some people do. You see that traffic come down?
Guys, got anything else? Okay. Do we want to entertain a motion?
Oh, I
for-
remember I had one, I remember
Go ahead.
that second question I had for you back in county notes. Did, has Sheets submitted their plan yet?
They have not.
Okay.
Finish this.
Thank you for that sidebar.
You're welcome. Okay, we've heard all the testimony, presentation. So at this point, in the concept review phase, Manchester Farms Section 7, I'll entertain a motion on this presentation.
Do any of the other board members have any questions before we go on?
Any other discussion?
I have some homework and research to do, so I'm not going to ask any questions at this time.
Okay.
You're looking for a formal motion, right, Michelle? I make motion that we approve the concept plan as submitted based upon comments and questions today, understanding that they will be back before this board multiple times, as well as back before the county multiple times before they receive full and final approval.
Got all that?
He's got stuff right in the book. One sentence, that's all you get.
Approved with conditions as noted during the meeting.
I think he said multiple conditions.
Okay,
Multiple meetings.
motion on the, got all that, Michelle? I'll wait till you're done writing. Okay. Motion on the floor. Looking for a second.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, concept. Okay, with no other items on the agenda, we'll entertain a motion for dismissal.
I can make a motion that we dismiss.
So ordered. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.